I'm just tired personally. I myself, guys, have like the sexual shame that comes from Christians, like right here, boss. You know what I'm saying? I'm done. I am done with the sexual shame that comes from these religious people. I'm done. Dude, I am fed up, bro. I don't want to hear anymore from these idiots about their proselytizing and their crying. Like, dude, check this out. Can I just show you? Because they're all hypocrites.
The billionaire owner of OnlyFans and the largest private donor to the American-Israeli Public Affairs Committee died this morning. Leonid Ridvinsky was only 43 years old and had been privately battling cancer. Unfortunately, Ridvinsky never came to know Christ, as he was a professing Jew and is to blame for the success of the multi-billion-dollar platform OnlyFans, which he acquired in 2018.
But you see what the Christians really think of Jewish people? But wait, it gets better, guys. Hold on.
Every one of the 4.6 million creators on OnlyFans, as well as the 360 million paying subscribers, have firsthand contributed to the influence and victories of 𝗙PAC, which is the most prominent sect of foreign lobbying on American politicians' decisions and policy.
Now, I want to pause here, because this girl right here, she's not wrong that he donated a lot of money to 𝗙PAC, but like, guys, this girl voted for Donald Trump. Not only did she vote for Donald Trump, she stumped for him. She was like online convincing people, no, Trump isn't racist. Trump took $300 million from 𝗙PAC. Trump is personal good buddies with Benjamin Netanyahu. Trump is literally a walking Zionism enabler. He is literally, his family is in bed with Zionism. His son-in-law, Netanyahu, slept in his bed when he was a kid. Oh, come here, Jared. Oh, we love you, buddy. Oh. Dude, like, Trump is literally like Bibi's bidet, dude. He is like a human bidet. And this woman is like now going off on her anti-𝗙PAC, like anti-Zionist, like, rant. But dude, she supported Trump. Like, I get it. If you're going to be anti-Zionist and you want to call that shit out, 𝗙PAC, very real. I totally get it. I'm all for that. Let's detonate that shit. But you don't get to vote for Trump, the 𝗙PAC whore, right? And then simultaneously be like, oh, I am now anti-𝗙PAC and you're not Jesus-y enough. But I did vote for the rapist and Epstein bestie. And so, like, let me proselytize to you about how big of a fucking hypocrite I am. I mean, give me a break, dude.
OnlyFans has virtually and physically poisoned the Western world, desensitizing and making addicts of hundreds of millions of people to sexual and obscene material.
Dude, again, you know what's a much bigger problem right now? I mean, I'm not going to say that the adult content access, particularly for young men getting that shit on their phones or their friends are showing it to them on iPads when they're very young, and then their parents aren't contextualizing it for them, that sucks. That does suck. The access of those tube sites, that's not OnlyFans. That's the tube sites that our kids have access to, or Twitter, right? She's literally using a platform that is an X-rated platform, right? This person here who's decrying she's on Twitter. Yo, chick, Twitter is a porn platform. Like, come on, baby, what are you talking about? So that is a problem, that access for young people. But guys, we have a much bigger problem right now that is about to eclipse even the adult content shit, and that is the gambling, okay? Gambling releases even more dopamine than sexual activity. And now kids are getting access to crypto gambling. They're like 12 years old, man. And anybody can open up a crypto site on a foreign thing. And now you got Polymarket, 𝗙cie, sports betting. They are literally getting everybody junked out on gambling. And it is one of the highest dopamine infusing activities you can imagine, dude. It is like, dude, we literally have a huge problem that is developing with young people where kids are like, it's going to fry their brains, man. And I think a future of like more open sex work is not going to be harmful for society. I think it's going to free us from some of this oppressive religious shit that we've been living under for 2,000 years of religious oppression. Now, one of the particular things, I want to show you one of the particular attacks that I have seen a lot today, guys. And it was like this guy Tectone saying, look at this. Look at what he said. He says, this man single-handedly did so much irreparable damage to our current and future generations of women. This guy, by the way, is a gaming influencer who's been accused of being very grapey and abusive in relationships. He says he essentially created the COVID virus for women's shame, completely destroyed it. Oh, shut the fuck up, Tectone. But look at this right here. He said, let us go back to a time where the act of sex was sacred. And let's think about this, guys. That is a patriarchal assessment of the scenario. Because, guys, men like to think, ooh, sex was sacred, right? That's when women partnered up with a guy and they got married and they had that special sex with just their partner and they had kids and it was religious and God approved and all this shit. But guys, if you look at the history of marriage, it's so toxic. Marriage was essentially slavery for women. They think the sex was sacred in the concept of marriage, but for the woman, she was essentially pawned off to be an indentured servant, where if they didn't like the guy, they were basically getting raped for life, dude. If they didn't like this guy, they were still had to give them sex whenever they wanted. And or the men would just take it. The women were literally raped for life, bro. And what did they do? They cooked, they cleaned, they raised kids. They never could have any equity, any of their own jobs, any of their own money, with very few exceptions, unless the woman was born into a very high social status. There were very rare instances where the woman was, had any power. Most of the time, women were married off to guys that they didn't even like, but their family just wanted to put them in a relationship, in a situation where they had money. So right here, has never been sacred. It's been taken, right? Mostly through social constructs designed to keep women forever in support roles, revolving around men and often mediocre ones. And then they try to convince the women that life of secondary, like indentured servitude, is somehow noble and or good for them. And like, dude, that shit is bullshit. Marriage is like a con, okay? Marriage started being really harmful and like enslavement for women. And it continued this, guys, all the way up until the 70s, until women had the power of the right to abortion, to where they could end a pregnancy and prevent themselves from being tied into getting married. Because even in the early part of the 20th century, guys, the ruse was that men would go out on a date with a woman, they would get her pregnant, and then she had to marry him. Now, if the woman got pregnant and didn't get married, she was like a heretical. Okay, she was ostracized from society. Dude, it was terrible. This was even when my mom was a kid. She got pregnant 4 times before she was 18. Or 3 times. Once was twins. But 3 times before she was 18, she ended up getting married to some abusive, crazy guy. Now, the other thing that's crazy is while these women were in the sacred, environment of marriage, often their husbands were cheating on them. So historically, women have been told, you need to get married, you need to do the sacred and proper thing of only having sex with your husband in the context of marriage. Meanwhile, he's going to go f everybody, and you're going to have nothing when he finally dumps you, and you will have nothing to show for it except that your body's wrecked because you birthed 5 kids, And now none of your shit works right, and you got nothing. You got no money, you got no equity, you got no skills, you're just filled with resentment. And so this is why I think things like OnlyFans are amazing, because fuck that. Okay, the concept of marriage and the concept of women like giving to men where they kind of own them, they put their last name on them, they put a ring marker on them, and then all of a sudden, like many times they want to like financially control them and shit, or get all up in their grill. Dude, I think just that, you know, I think, as I said earlier today, that I think, if anything, platforms like OnlyFans and these cultural advancements we have in gender and sexuality, I think they're here to blow apart the oppression of 2,000 years of religious bullshit. Christianity has been deviously oppressing women for 2,000 years, saying that they can't run a business, they can't be the head of household, they can't be the pastor, they have to be birthing vessels, they have to submit to their husband, all this nonsense. And meanwhile, most of the men are like predators, like seriously, like, you know, child abuse and all kinds of shit. They're grapey, like churches have been hotbeds of abuse, of SA. So I think like OnlyFans and those types of platforms are fucking beautiful, dude. Beautiful. Let's blow it all apart. Let's blow all of that religious oppression apart and start over. That's how I feel. What is up, guys? Thank you so much for watching. You like the video, you want to support independent resistance media, you know what to do. Drop that sub, hit the like button, and please share it. And we do love our members, so if you want to become a member, it's another really great way to support. Thanks again for everything, guys. I'll see you next time. Let's go.